Hello everybody, it's Friday night and it is Weekender time and we've a packed show for you as always. We're going to be kicking things off with some proper Polish, having a look at some Port Royal pirates, and on top of that we also plunder a couple of Kickstarters, along with a whole host of other gaming news that's caught our eye over the last week from the industry. On top of all of that, but wait, there's more, from store.ontabletop.com, we have a prize of the Old Dominion Conquest 5th Anniversary Supercharged Starter Set. To be in with a chance to win, you need to come over to OnTableTop.com and pop a comment below this video there, and we shall pick the winner next week. Now sit back and relax, because your weekend starts here. Hello everybody and welcome to the Weekender. Today I'm joined by Ben, Justin and Shay.
Hello.
To take you through a week's worth of gaming news.
Yeah.
Fancy gaming news that people haven't seen yet. Or maybe they have. I don't know. Depends how they've been paying attention. There's some very fresh news. So fresh. Later. But we'll have to wait. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves on that.
A circular concept, and what people have and haven't seen is both real and not real.
Yeah.
So you've already seen what you haven't seen, unless you didn't see it in the last cycle, or the one before, or the one before, or the one before. I could just go on.
Exactly. And if you manage to get through that, then welcome to the show.
Well done, you. Well done, you. Our dungeon nearly is finished. Paintbrush is down. Step away from your table, like the Krypton Factor. We'll be looking through those soon, and then putting together our winners. But it's been a lot of fun watching what people have put together. There's been some exceptional stuff. There was even a bookend. Although I know technically it's listed as Dungeonalia, Dan. I don't technically think it is Dungeonalia, though. People can go and find out on the projects themselves.
Well, is it a bookend that you can put down on the table and go, this is the big bad?
No.
No? Okay, never mind. I tried to save you, buddy.
No. There's no saving that one. That comes from Lloyd's Mad Memories. So yeah, obviously there's a lot of stuff to go through, and we'll be taking our time to pour through it. But thank you for everybody who got involved. It was spectacular while it lasted. What a shame it's over. Oh. If only there was something else that they could do. Time will tell. Anyway.
Time is a circular concept.
Oh God. Oh, we're stuck in a rut. Right. We have more important things to be getting on with, though. And obviously the most important thing of all is our Indie of the Week. Ooh. And this week, it's the InfamousJT.
I do love that man.
Jamie Tranter, for people who are not aware of his work, he's been floating around in our little cubbyhole of an industry for some time now. Worked with various companies, Warlord, Footsore, Meg as well, I think. Done some fantastic painting over the years. A thoroughly nice guy. And a few years ago, he ran a Kickstarter for the Warsaw Uprising. And that is what we're going to be looking at. Because when I say it's little indie, it is so little. It's 63 days of littleness. Because it was just put together a set of 28mm figures that could be used for the Warsaw Uprising in any World War II game you fancy. Obviously, if you're a bolt action player, this is nailed on for that, because it gives you plenty in there. I will start with my favorite pieces, I think. So the range itself was sculpted by a couple of sculptors. So there was Dennis Zornowski from Savage Forged. He did all the figures, and then Jonathan from Vivictus, Linares, possibly is how they pronounce that name. He did the 3D work, the CAD work, so things like the Cubus
cool.
at the back. All the weapons were 3D sculpted and then handed over. And there's also a little dispatch biker. So those are the two guys working through it. If I go into here, though, so this is pretty much the extent of it. It is compact and Bijou Boston. But like I say, I'm starting with my favorite. So there were a couple of characters, for want of a better word. As you can see here, there's a photographer with cat who was, and I'm not going to pronounce that name, it looks like the Polish version of Eugene. And I don't want to insult him. He was actually a Polish Olympian, decathlon, long jump, javelin, all these sort of things, drafted into the Polish army at the start of the war, was made an officer, captured by the Soviets. He escaped to Warsaw and started running classes in like an underground university, which means he wasn't part of the officer massacre when the Soviets just lined up all the Polish officers and went, we're going to kill you. So he was there in Warsaw when the rising took place in as part of the Home Guard in 44, and the cat is a little cat that he was pictured with. I don't know if it was his own cat or not. I wonder if they had the photos on the original Kickstarter. I might try and grab those to see if I can find them. He unfortunately died during the uprising. His sister collected all his photos and published them in a book. It is a very expensive book.
I can imagine.
But if you find it, or you can even possibly look for it online, it has, day-to-day shots of the Home Guard during the uprising. People firing out of windows, or people just catching a break between, engagements, or just, living their lives while this insanity was going on around them.
I imagine a lot of his work was inspiration for what was created for the range, I imagine, and sort of used as reference and all sorts of different things. So
no, I can't get the pictures up, which is a terrible shame. Anyway, so that's our photographer, he was a nice little bonus for the Kickstarter. The medic, on the other hand, is Donatu Motas, one of Jamie's friends, Peter, who does a lot of painting. You'll have seen his work on Warlord's site, doing some of the studio paint jobs and stuff. So things like the mouse. Remember they released the mouse? That was one of Peter's. This is his grandmother. So she was actually a medic in the Home Army during the Rising, and they sculpted based off photographs that Peter passed across. She was actually in a house when it was shelled by a tank, possibly a tiger, something very big anyway, and survived because there was a door in front of her that took the blast and then hit her and sort of, sandwiched her in it. So she ended up being captured and spend the rest of the war in a prisoner of war camp. So, but those two are, just because they are specific people, and the work they've done is great. So I just love having these actual little homages to actual people
really
who
cool.
fought in it.
Absolutely.
And I say that these are, particular people. In actual fact, because obviously he took a lot of photographs and there are photographs kicking around, some of the other models are based on photographs of the Rising, even in cases where they may not know who the person is, but they are, accurate to the people that you have there. So if I then go into some of the actual partisan packs, we'll do those first. We'll start with the rifles. So as you can see, the partisans are wearing a eclectic mix of stuff. Some are in commandeered German equipment, so there's a lot of people running around in SS smocks and stuff that they stolen from the Germans because Warsaw had become the sort of fortress city for the Germans. Others are just wearing civvies, obviously all with the Polish national flag as their armband for easy identification. But these are a stunning little group of fellows.
There's something you don't really ever see is a 10-year-old child carrying weapons.
Plenty of them around.
See it all the time, yeah.
Yeah. And well, this is the other thing, because obviously they're nailed on for the Polish uprising, but they also work very well for partisans in other areas. Or if push comes to shove, you could use them as Volkssturm, so the drafted Germans as well, where you're just handing kids and old men weapons and telling them to get out there and defend Berlin. Could be done for that, or you could use them for interwar stuff as well. These are all metal cast, with the exception of the Kubus and the little bicycle, which is they're both resin, by the way. So that's our first rifleman pack. Our second, a little more civilian-esque.
That helmet is so big for that guy's head.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
I know the fellow on the right has the right idea. He understood the assignment.
Let's get absolutely lashed.
And then screw up some Germans.
It's the best way to get through the fighting, I think.
Yep.
These are just gorgeous.
I really like the mix of kit they're wearing. Obviously not kit, but civilian outfits and stuff.
Well, there you go.
They're creating a good, diverse force of soldiers. Yeah.
Well, that's it for your partisan force, where you've got people who, literally went and stole a load of German kit from a warehouse, to the people who have just turned up with a helmet and an armband, and off they go. Yeah. So, a set of essentially 12 rifle. Well, I say 12 rifle. There's an LMG in there, but you could have a rifle team, or there's the same with SMGs.
A little bit of close-up action.
Yeah.
Molotov as well. Good stuff.
Well, wouldn't have it any other way. And again, some of the weapons are specific. So some were, Polish hand-built variants of things like Grace guns or Thompsons that they were
screwed together.
Yeah,
Yep.
that they were making on the ground. That, I think, is an early war Polish SMG. With the
is that like a fire brigade hat as well? That the one guy's
probably.
Yeah.
But then, bear in mind the French Adrian helm was similar in style. So it could go either way. Let's put it like that. And again,
really cool stuff.
More of same. And these are just absolutely gorgeous.
Stuff. Nice dynamic poses as well. Which is good.
I know these are gorgeous because I backed the Kickstarter, so I have a full army of this. Which is why every year I go, we should do some stuff in August for the Polish uprising, and then every year something else occurs, and I never get a chance to do it. We should do this, Shay.
I'm up for it. Sorry about me.
So that's your infantry sections. So your platoons and the like. Then on top of that, we also have the more esoteric. I say more esoteric. That's somewhat esoteric. The British dropped some Piats in for them to use.
Yeah.
So there are Piat teams available. I don't know what numbers they were there, but they had them, and occasionally Piat would work. Occasionally.
Hey guys, you have 3.
Sometimes.
You if it doesn't work, try a bigger spring.
That's the one thing that always freaks me out is the Piat was bloody spring loaded.
Well,
that's where Nerf guns started from, Shay.
Oh, I'm aware of the Pia. I told you I love a bit of Pia action in video games.
But this wasn't quite as rare and esoteric a piece of kit in the uprising. The K-pattern flamethrower, they used a lot of homemade flamethrowers in the rise, more than you would generally see, because it was something that was
buildings, I guess.
a devastating piece of equipment that they could manufacture with the provisions they had within a German occupied country at that stage.
I mean, what's the saying? It's not a war crime if it's the first time.
It wasn't the first time.
It wasn't the first
Oh,
time.
I know this. I know this. For them, it may have been.
Link's cannon and lighter, so you need.
Yep. So
Don't think they had those, Shay.
So that lets you build your core of your platoons up,
Ye
which is nice. And then we have our vehicles. So little dispatch rider. I honestly don't know what I'm going to use him for. I don't think he has rules in bold action, which is generally the game we play whenever we're playing 28 World War
You
II.
can use him as the sort of moving objective as part of a game.
Oh yeah,
Maybe the partisans have to cover him, and he has to, and you basically just give him additional movement as he zooms through the streets.
oh well, there are rules for bikes, so you wouldn't need to be anything clever with him. But yeah. I should use him.
Or
as
you could just
an
remodel
objective
him so
replicant.
he's down and wounded.
Oh no, I wouldn't remodel him.
See a guy riding around fast on a bike, shoot him.
But he's a beautiful little sculpt as well.
That's how Justin keeps the roads clear of cyclists.
But this one,
I don't even drive and I hate them. The Kubus is lovely.
Yeah.
this is just an absolute darling. They only started building this like a week into the uprising and had it knocked out in no time. And it was equipped with light machine gun, and then it has optional Piat flamethrower or light machine gun up top.
Wow.
So you know, it was all good in the hood.
Is it
as they
just
say.
like was it one of those? Was it kind of like an upcycled vehicle kind of thing?
It was
like
a
just old bits and pieces.
a Chevrolet truck
Right.
that they A-teamed. They closed the
Okay.
doors to the warehouse, bolted armor onto it, welded that armor shut, and then 2 weeks later this rolled out.
Wow.
So
With
the
a camo pattern and a da 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 da.
the original Killdozer then.
But it was it's actually, although it looks relatively small there, it was a armored transport.
Okay.
So it was used to carry people around, and lasted up until I think it was the second assault on the university. So it finally gave up and was just left first week in September. I think 5th or 6th. It was abandoned and that was it.
What, did they only build one?
Yeah, the Rising went on for a couple of weeks after that. But it survived the war. And it's in the Army Museum to this day.
Oh, brilliant.
So you can visit
Nice.
it. Yeah, and I think there's a specific Uprising Museum, which is separate from the Army Museum, where they've built a working replica. So you can see the one that actually
Amazing.
goes around
But-
as well.
Did they only ever build one of these, or was this
Yeah.
something they built a few of?
No, just built one.
Okay.
The Warsaw Rising was literally 63 days.
Okay.
So they had this. They had a captured 251 German half-track that was also used for troop transport. And they also captured 2 Panthers, but we know I don't like tanks in my games of bold action.
So they
but
will not be seen.
theoretically, you could. But the 251, you could have they called it Grey Wolf. And Kubus was named after I think it was the code name for one of the designer's wives who was killed like a week before
Oh.
Wow.
during the uprising.
Damn.
So that was her partisan nickname.
It's so awesome. Well, I say awesome. It's obviously devastating as well.
Yeah.
But I love the kind of ingenuity of people in these situations.
Oh, yeah.
Come up with stuff
Mhm.
like this. I think obviously the reason that InfamousJT that Jamie did this as well is that I don't think a lot of people necessarily know about this in as much
No.
detail, and so to have all these different characters and personalities and vehicles and things, and learning about all this cool stuff from World War II is just a great way for you to learn. Go beyond the beaches of of Normandy and the fighting in France or whatever, and explore different things like this.
Weirdly, I think the book's up in the studio because we were playing a game of bold action recently. But about 8-9 months after these models came out, one of the Warlord campaign books came out that has the Polish Uprising list in it, and it includes a Kubus as well. So it's nice that there's a list you can fix it straight into, and you can go and because it was such a narrow, tight little point in time, but the first assault on the university was beaten back. There was the second assault on the university. There are these points where you go, well, we know what happened here, we know what happened here, and then we know the Russians absolutely screwed them, which is part and parcel why the uprising happened. The Soviets were coming in, and the Poles decided that they would attempt to free themselves of the Germans before the Soviets arrived, so that they could reinstall their government in exile. And Stalin was arriving with some Polish pro-Soviet Poles who were forming their own government, and they stopped outside Warsaw and waited until the Germans had crushed.
Oh,
If they'd actually moved in and the Germans were having to deal with the rising on one side, it may have ended up very differently towards the end of the war, where the Polish may have been a free country, or they may have been attached to Europe rather than sucked into the Soviet Union at the end of it.
Yeah.
So, but it's when you start looking into things like this that that you start seeing all of these bits and pieces, and you could go in and explore all of that.
Perfect opportunity for sort of a series of event style games. Like you set this up, and because obviously you as you say, you've got the definitive start and end point of this. Dive in and play it from beginning to end, or maybe pick particular flashpoints, as it were, to focus in on.
But with having that photographer who was there, and you say there's a book with all the photos, are there any photos of the actual city itself, some of the battle scenes that you could maybe use to recreate a table?
I've only seen a few pages of it. It's like a 400 or 500 page long book.
Oh wow!
But it's also a 250 odd pound book.
Oh
right.
So because it's it's small press published, and I don't think it's had many reprints. So it's a case of if you can find it, you're doing well. So you can pick up a whole army for a ton, ton plus change. The other thing on this site though, which I absolutely adore, am I going to be a guide? I'm going to be a guide here. Oh look! So Heresy
it's almost
Brush,
like the guy who's good at painting models does good
but this,
painting guides. Yeah.
This wasn't Jamie did it because he's connected. So Heresy Brush, Ruben Torregrosa.
Oh, cool.
Did them. So there's one on the Cubis, there's one on the infantry, and there's one on the infantry in German style uniforms, and they are really, really good painting guides. Even if you're not planning on doing World War II, if you're just looking for a good painting guide on vehicles, he's using a whole range of effects there, so enamels and oils and that sort of thing. But even from there, pros and cons of enamels and oils and acrylics, how prime, camouflage in stages from masking and shading to doing your camo pattern masking, blah 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 blah, then into the weathering. It's all in there in a handy dandy 12-page guide.
Brilliant.
And it's absolutely terrific. I mean, at some point I will paint my Cubis, and I'll do it just like this. I'll just steal all those ideas. But
just wait until he's in the nursing home. He'll have time then.
They're not taking me to the nursing home. I will repel borders. I may attempt that. But painting the Polish Home Army, again, really nice painting guide. But it's the explanation as well. So he goes through his style of painting, which is obviously very stark highlights and contrasts and stuff. But then at the end, he goes, here's the triad system that Foundry used, that Kevin Dallymore developed, and then here's your standard layering method, and here's how you would do it if you were using these styles of painting instead, which is a really nice little touch. So yeah, this isn't, it's an invaluable resource if you want to specifically do the Warsaw Uprising.
Yeah.
If you just want to learn some techniques for vehicles and infantry models, then they're just absolutely cracking. And then the gallery pictures at the end are great as well.
Very
so
cool.
Like I say, I liked it so much, I bought it. And then he had a sale on at one point, and I bought another set of the infantry because I've got options then. Options.
And if
My
you like
God.
what InfamousJT does anyway,
Mm.
they also did dwarves, didn't they, and all sorts of different things. Yeah,
Not
on their
yet.
website at the moment. They're still delivering those, aren't they? I think.
No,
or
they're,
are
they
they
haven't.
coming to Kickstarter?
They're coming to
or-
Kickstarter.
Oh, right, okay.
Ooh.
So we're in March,
Yes.
May.
Sure.
I want to say it's May they're coming. So
Ah, okay.
so we'll keep
Okay.
an eye on that and let you know when they're
Nice
on the
old hammer dwarves.
yes, because obviously if you weren't in the World War II vein and you weren't in the vein for some Polish Warsaw Uprising figures, you probably have never heard of InfamousJT, which means you may not be aware that there are going to be dwarves in his future. So now you know, and you've been warned, and therefore you can't use any excuses. I think that's the main thing. Right, time for some news.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
Okay, we're back and it's time for some news. And oh, lordy, there's a lot in that one, isn't there?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Adepticon.
Said the dog. Yes. So yeah, big Adepticon pre-orders from Corvus Belli for the World of Infinity. They do these every year, and they are back once again, like the Renegade Master. These are going to be going live, properly live, from the 4th of March, and they'll go all the way through the 24th of March. But this will be your opportunity to dive into a new sectorial force for O12 called the Torchlight Brigade and their action pack. So this is a new set of glorious miniatures that are going to be showing up for you to use in your games of Infinity. And boy, do they look good. If you want to rescue people on far-flung worlds, then forget about your Helldivers.
No,
This
paint
is the
these
way to
as
go.
Helldivers.
Yeah, or use these as Helldivers. Yeah, very true. So the action pack itself is broken down into a few different sections of miniatures. You've got the Silver Star Rovers, as you can see there, looking gorgeous. Oh,
I love these because I assume that is their wee woo lights on their head. And they come in going red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue as they're chasing you down the street.
Those will only flash red because they're already blue.
yeah. I like the idea that it makes the same sound as the French police cars. You know, where it's slightly melodic. Yeah. That'd be great. But yeah, so you got the Silver Star Rovers there. And then you have the likes of the Hellblazers Close Quarter Battle Specialist unit as well, rocking up with their swords and shields, as you would do in a sci-fi world, looking gorgeous, once again, as you can see. Really nice attention to detail on these. I love that they've kind of gone for that kind of uber sci-fi look on these, but then with that, obviously, that lovely twist of anime that you tend to get with, and manga, obviously, with the Infinity.
Well, any sci-fi universe that includes the Holy Orders, I think at that point the police pretty much have to come armed with shields.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, very true. In addition to that, you've also got the Nimrod's Wetwork DET edition as well. So you've got some additional specialists and things for you to throw into the mix. And then some of my favorites, the Striders Scouting Forward unit is also really cool. Love that armor design. I can't quite tell if it's a mask. I think it's a mask on the front of the helmet.
He's gone full Enoch.
Yes, he has. Which I thought was very, very cool. Really like that as a concept and a model, and it just sort of adds to the awesomeness of the unit. I really like the fact that they've done the additional sort of terrain and vehicles in the background as well, as you can see. Like I know a lot of people are probably going to be going out there trying to make their own drop ships and stuff for this, which I think would be really nice.
Can you get that drop ship from them, or I'm going to ask Carlos where the hell they got that from, just so I can tell everyone.
One of the best models is also probably Silver Star Prime. I mean, rescue tag looks amazing. Rocket in with both the sword and what appears to be a flamethrower. I mean, why would you not?
Just waiting to see what he transforms into.
Yeah. But
Murderous death.
Yeah. Oh, you got to paint him in those colors now. That would be cool. But yeah, a really awesome addition to that action pack there as well. And obviously, this will mean that you could dive in and literally just start playing with those models. If you've maybe never touched O12 before, maybe this would be a good opportunity for you to start. A really nice action pack there, filled with options. And obviously, you could mix these with what already exists for O12 as well to make even more diverse and interesting teams on the tabletop, which is very nice.
Mhm.
In
They
addition
are
to that,
absolutely beautiful.
they really are. In addition to that, we also have reinforcements in the form of Team Gladius. So these fall into the camp of reinforcements that we've seen already for the likes of Infinity. So ways for you to kind of bolster your faction and things like that on the tabletop with additional specialists and things to sort of fill in the gaps, which is always nice to see. Lots of different weapon types and things in there for you to choose from. I'm sure there will be people who are Infinity specialists going, "Ooh, that's nice. That's a good combination," etc. All that kind of good stuff. So make sure you go and pick that up.
It's going to become a hoverboard in short order.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you just see
Definitely will do.
Killian sitting at his PC going.
That is what he is wanting to do. And then last but not least, there is also the limited edition authorized bounty hunter miniature, which is available for event exclusives. Well, for this particular event for Adepticon, and will be included as part of a pre-order bundle. So as I said, pre-orders for this stuff running from March the 4th through to March the 24th. You'll be able to get your hands on the Torchlight Brigade action pack alongside the Gladius team. And then if you combine those together, you'll also get the authorized bounty hunter, as you can see there, to use as you see fit in your games, as a mercenary, as an objective, as a person of importance, however you want to use it. But yeah, really good stuff there from the folks at Corvus Belli for Infinity. Amazing stuff once again. Really cool options for those people who want to dive in and play around with O12 a little bit more and have some fun in the run up to Adepticon, which is promising to be quite the event this year with all sorts of things happening. So, yeah.
I do like the fact that the event miniature is available for people who can't get to the event.
Yes.
Because that was just
good. Yeah.
bugged me as a kid. Going,
Event
oh, really?
exclusives.
Event exclusive, and I can't get anywhere near it. At least you can pick these up either from Corvus Belli, or I think sometimes
they do them through stores
through,
as well.
through stores now as well. Yeah.
I would also
Adepticon is on the bucket list for me.
Yeah, it would be great to go there again. Actually, it's been a long time since we've had.
Well, no, we did Gen Con. We never did Adepticon.
Well, no, but Gianna and Dawn had done. It
Oh, I know,
back
but
then, things like that,
I don't care about them. I want to go. I
Very
want
true.
to go.
I will also say, in terms of event exclusives, I haven't got a link here, but the Avenging Guard miniature is also available at events this year as well. So if you are interested in picking that up for 2024, make sure to check that out. You know what? I'll put a link in the show notes, and I'm going to remind myself to do that right now.
You're too nice to people. You really are.
You could go searching
them.
for it, or I could help you, because people are lazy.
Please, see when it comes to the show notes, you know that website, let me Google that for you. Put the link in for that.
Just put that in. That's the way to go.
Tippy
Yeah.
tap. Right.
Yeah.
Off for some piracy with Firelock. Oh, this is an interesting one that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, so Mike from Firelock Games announced this week that they are going to be doing an alternative to their. I mean, they already do a pirate skirmish game already, but this one is a lot more focused in, a lot more sort of granular in terms of its detail and its scope. This is Port Royal, which is a new skirmish game that has tentatively been called Imagine Blood and Plunder, but slightly more time, right? The idea is that this is set around the events of an earthquake that hit Jamaica in 1692, which devastated the town of Port Royal. And so what you'll be doing is you'll be diving into the role of pirates, naval officers, and everyone in between. You can play as the likes, as I say, of pirates, privateers, Native Americans, the African Maroons, or maybe even your local government forces if you want to, become the man. And you'll be fighting over the effective ruins of Port Royal, which is laden with goodies and everything else in between as everybody strives to take territory and all kinds of good stuff like that.
So catch that pig. We need dinner.
Exactly. In true skirmish game fashion, this is a campaign game, so you'll be able to build your crew, and as you go through, you'll be able to gain experience and develop them and sort of dive into different scenarios and sort of be the ones that take over this sort of alternative direction for Port Royal during 1692, which I think is pretty awesome. You did mention wild animals. They are something you will have to contend with in the game, because as the town has sort of fallen into disrepute and there's ruins everywhere, I mean, it was already pretty disreputable anyway, I suppose. There will also be wild animals running around. There'll be pigs for you to chase down that are probably on fire, because that tends to be the case, as well as desperate civilians for you to deal with and all sorts of different things like that. Sounds really awesome. I know that the folks at Firelock Games have said that they're going to try and make this very easy to dive into. So it'll be interesting to see how much of it is tied into the rules that we already know from Blood and Plunder and stuff like that. Or maybe they've gone in an entirely different direction. We shall see. Obviously, a great thing about this is that it's very small model count because it's skirmish warbands.
Yeah.
If you already have Blood and Plunder stuff, you're pretty much set to go.
Yeah.
Just dive in and make the terrain. But if you're not, obviously there are loads of plastic sets that they've done with the latest release of their starter set last year, I think it was, for the game. And of course, they've done loads of new resin models as well, sort of enhancing the metal range that they already have. So there's loads of options for you to choose from when it comes to playing any of the factions that I mentioned earlier, pretty much. But yeah, sounds really cool.
I'm excited to see this. A lot of people don't want to take the big step for Blood and Plunder with the likes of the ships and that sort of thing. Although the plastic sloops obviously make that more affordable.
A lot easier. Yeah.
But the big resin ones are still pricey. So sometimes people look at it and go, it's an awful lot, and what if I don't like the game? This could be a great way of getting people to see how much they enjoy piracy, because everybody enjoys piracy.
Oh yeah.
So an amuse bouche of piracy.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that you can run it as a narrative campaign where you're carving up bits of the island. I imagine there's going to be some sort of massive pirate map.
Obviously.
Of Port Royal that you can then just claim areas, so it's everybody fighting over what remains of the tavern.
Print your own, get the tea bags out, start doing the old thing that you used to do, get the lighter out to do the edges.
Do the edges, all of that.
See, I'd be starting from the docks, because if any new supplies come in, they're not making it to the tavern, son.
We see where Justin's going with this.
Oh, you see that?
Yeah.
I imagine the docks are either a massive bloodbath all the time, or
owned by the government,
or are the one piece of sort of negotiable territory where everybody's a safe haven, because otherwise you all die together.
But do you really think the British forces are going to let anyone control it other than them?
I don't think they have any say in the matter. So that one goes post earthquake, all bets are off.
Very true. So this is going to be coming to Kickstarter in the spring, so watch out for that. I'm very intrigued to see what they do with it. They have also said that they're going to be running demos. We mentioned Adepticon earlier. Demos of Port Royal will be playable at Adepticon, so if you want to go and head over to that, you'll be able to get a taste of the game, see what you think. There is also a Facebook group already set up. And if it's like any of the Facebook groups that Firelock Games have run in the past, it will be packed with previews and all sorts of different things of the game in the run-up to its release, because they tend to be very nice to their community, which is always good. So yes, really fun.
Must attempt to get some of the Firelock people on the channel and have a chat about that.
Yeah.
I shall attempt to lure Mike out with a bit of apple. That's how it works, isn't it?
How it works.
No, just remind him that he owes us because of the time that I got him a cupcake cake. He'll know what I'm on about.
Glad someone does. Right. Muto martial artists from Crooked Dice then. Benjamino. These are great. These are great for so many reasons. I'll let you explain why they're great, and then I'll tell you why they're great as well.
These are amazing. So Crooked Dice do a huge range of different miniatures that cover all sorts of popular media, but with a slight slant to it and everything else in between. These mutant martial artists, as you can see here, are pretty teenage, maybe ninjas. They're definitely turtles. And they are now available back on the web store for Crooked Dice and for use in 7TV and any other game that you might think of. Back in the day, there wasn't even a program guide for 7TV where you could play as these mutant martial artists, and it was really, really fun. And then I can't remember if these disappeared and came back, or if these are entirely new. I swear there was some that existed out there on the internet before. Somebody help me in the comments.
Probably Hassle-Free or someone of that ilk.
Yeah. But yes, you get all four of the awesome characters looking very, very cool indeed with their signature weapons.
That one's me.
I'm Donatello all the time. Yeah.
Wait, you like Donatello? What is
Yeah.
wrong with you?
He was the thinky dude. He was the awesome guy.
All he got for
Yeah.
a weapon was a stick.
The thinking
Yeah.
man's terrible. But yeah, but this, right, because that explains their what's the word I'm looking for? Their characteristics are
There you
explained
go.
in the weapons they're given. So Donatello, the most tech savvy, the one who's always doing intricate stuff, gets given just a stick, the most basic fighting weapon. Whereas Michelangelo, the one who doesn't spend enough time focusing, gives the hardest weapon to use. Raphael, the one who's a bit more aggressive and kicks
the
off
sai.
too easily, gets
It's
the
okay
sai.
to stab people.
No, because they're not stabbing; they're blunt. There's no edge on a sai. It's a defensive weapon. You can't stab people with them.
Okay.
So the weapons were perfectly thought out, and Shredder came
Alright.
back from mutant worms.
All
Yeah.
right.
And then Leonardo is the Chad choice. There you go. Roll with that instead.
Worst, just the worst. Anyway,
But yeah, so you get the mutant martial artists, as you can see there, looking amazing. Drop them into your games, have some fun, really cool. I love that there's even a little kind of robo rodent on one of the bases as well.
yes.
They do those separately, so if you're looking for lots of tiny kind of chaff to throw at your ninjas, then you've got some options there. But in addition to the martial artists, you can also get the mutant brutes as well. So if you're looking to dive in and throw some slightly more elite enemies perhaps into the mix, you've got the choice there, which I think is fantastic. Your Bebop
and Rocksteady.
Yeah, looking amazing. All sculpted by the same guy. Unfortunately, I can't pronounce your first name, but Didier has done an amazing job on these. They are fantastic. Really, really good stuff. And if these are out in the wild again, I would love
Shell-shocked.
to see some other potentially evil, villainous.
Where is our brain alien in robot?
Exactly. Maybe some additional allies, perhaps a reporter or two. Yeah, that could be cool. Guy with a hockey stick, perhaps.
Yeah, I was saying, why would you go to anybody before you go to Casey Jones?
Obviously, Casey Jones. Yeah.
Casey Jones, who's a absolute lunatic. One of the guys who plays up at the OnTableTop Club and the Causeway Giants animated that TV show.
Wow.
Really nice chap. Came from Canada, where he also did the Raccoons before.
Oh,
No
childhood.
way.
Right in the childhood.
Before he moved to Dublin, and they did a lot of the animation for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles down in Dublin, and then he
That's
moved
so
up to
cool.
Coleraine to the North Coast. And we were talking one day about something like the Raccoons, and he went, "I drew that, you know." He went, "What?" I go, "This is amazing." So,
That's
yes.
amazing.
So now,
That's so cool.
I need to get those turtles, and then we just run a game.
Play a
Bring him
game.
down.
There you go. Yeah.
Look at your little tiny mans.
Mhm.
Turtle
So
power.
Look at all their growing up being done.
It's amazing. I really like them, but it's crooked dice. They always do good stuff.
They
Yeah.
really do.
And it'd be interesting because obviously they pick from pop culture a lot, so I imagine it will focus more on the cartoon version than the comic book version.
Yes.
Although we
Yeah.
can always hope that we do get a Yojimbo Samurai Rabbit at some point,
that
'cause
would
I
be cool.
because I think he may have turned up in the TV show once as a
Ooh,
walk-on
I
part.
can't remember.
But I definitely want to see that. Because that would be
Definitely.
awesome.
Definitely.
Anyway, right now, Galaxy Far, Far Away.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff coming. Not for Legion, which is, I'm about a minute and a half away from their fire sale. But
Oh,
Yes.
Project it into the universe, Jerry. Project.
For those people playing Star Wars Shatterpoint,
Crisis Protocol.
yes. There are some new squad packs coming up in the next couple of months from Atomic Mass Games. There's 3 of them for you to choose from. We're going to be starting off with the Tales of the Mandalorian himself, Din Djarin, and exploring some of the characters from that TV show that are going to be popping up. So you'll be able to pick up the Certified Guild Squad Pack, as you can see there, which features the Mandalorian himself, clad in armor, helmet on, of course, alongside little old Grogu, which is fantastic.
It's
floating
still Baby
around.
Yoda. Stop being wrong.
Someone told me the name that the community, like the internet, had started to call him that wasn't Baby Yoda. It was something like something Shitu or something, and then everyone that was the reason that they started naming Grogu in the show, because they were like, we need to stop this being a thing. If anyone remembers that, make sure to let me know down below. But yeah, yes, obviously you get Din Djarin, you get Grogu, and then you've got Grief Karga as well. R.I.P. Carl Weathers. He can live on in your tabletop games, protecting your trade outposts somewhere on a distant planet in the Star Wars universe, having some fun with his blasters at the ready. And then last but not least, there's also IG-11 there. Before he got turned into a papoose, a nanny droid. You've got the IG-11 there, looking pretty badass as your assassin droid. Very nice indeed. Obviously, you could use them as their own squad in the game, or of course with Shatterpoint, you can mix and match however you see fit. So if you wanted to throw in lots of different characters, you can do. Maybe bring in Luke alongside these. That could be kind of nice.
Oh yeah, that moment before he takes the baby away, it's just like, oh crap, people turned up.
Yeah, so have some fun with that and dive in. On the other side of things, you've also got the villainous element to the Mandalorian show. You have the "You Have Something I Want" squad pack, which features the awesome Moff Gideon, looking rather cool. Not quite as kitted out as he was towards the end of, well, the recent stuff for the Mandalorian. But looking very nice indeed, as you can see. Cloak billowing out in all directions.
I just want to convert him so he's holding a chicken leg.
Yes, yes.
Hermanos los pollos.
Yeah. Part-time runs that takeaway joint. But then you also get the Death Troopers and Dark Troopers in there as well. So if you're if you're maybe looking to represent that particular end point of the Mandalorian, with where Luke shows up, that could be pretty awesome. Fighting through the Imperial starship and going up to the bridge, that could be very cool. Obviously got some nice options there. Again, run these individually, well, as is individual squad pack, or break them up and use them in different configurations as you see fit. Another nice little set there. For those people, sorry, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say, he is armed with a dark saber there. I wonder if there are options. The way sometimes they have given a Legion before it went away, you would have options for Sabine to have the dark saber or twin pistols, or that sort of thing.
Some of the sets do come with different options. I'm not entirely sure of the options for this particular set. We'll have to wait until we get a little bit more detail on that one. But
or just go buy it.
Just go buy it and have some fun with it. Yeah. I do know that the next set that we're going to look at does have lots of different options in it. So for those people who maybe love themselves a bit of the Bad Batch, Clone Force 99 are going to be rocking out on the tabletop once more, looking very cool. I love the show. It was great to see them in the Clone Wars, obviously. And really nice to see them expand and get their own TV show. And it's been really nice following that. Some interesting twists and turns in the narrative for that one. Won't drop any spoilers.
Is the child called Flake? Because that's what 99 is. It's ice cream with a flake.
There you go.
So if they're the Clone Force with 99.
Do you prefer soft serve, Gerry?
It's the only way you get 99, mate.
But yeah, this set comes with Hunter, Echo, and Tech, Wrecker and Omega, and Crosshair. Some of them as dual bases, some of them as individuals. They come with options to have their helmets on or off, depending on which way you want to go, which I think is quite nice. And obviously they're all in different poses and things like that. Again, can run them as individual characters or use them as part of a larger group. It's been really interesting seeing the fact, I look at this set and I like that even though this was a cartoon and then the Mandalorian stuff was live action, you feel like they both work together quite nicely because they've kind of found like a midpoint for the sculpting on these. I think it's quite nice. So nothing feels like it's out of place, which is always good to see with miniature ranges, especially at 40 mil where you're going to see the details a lot more prevalently. But yeah, a really nice little set there as well for those people who want to dive in and play as the Bad Batch in their games of Star Wars Shatterpoint. Fantastic stuff. Maybe even add a slightly villainous element into things with these. Watch the show, find out.
Is Flake an evil Jedi Sith Master?
I will say no more.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's Jar Jar. It was always Jar Jar. He will always be the villain. I love how he's not popped up in anything yet.
Ben, why do you have to hurt me like that?
He will. He will at some point.
Yeah.
Give it time.
Soon we'll get the Gungan army that we've always wanted. But yeah.
Did you know, just on that note, because I discovered this last night when I came home drunk. I was, trawling through the internet. The big celebration played by the Gungan band at the end of Phantom Menace. The
Right.
La la la,
Yeah.
la la la, la la la. Just, you know, the massive celebration they're having. They're all parading around when Qui-Gon's like dead somewhere. Everybody else having a grand old party. That is just the Emperor's theme sped up.
Really?
Yes. And then I went, that can't be right. I went and found the Emperor's theme and then
Put it on
sped it up.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, it is. It 100% is. So,
Wow.
so
Okay,
kudos,
I'm gonna
Mr.
have to check
Williams.
that between filming.
Kudos, Mr. Williams, for sneaking
Amazing.
that little, you know, because obviously Sheev Palpatine is there as the senator from Naboo.
Oh, yeah.
At that point, and he's given the old, I'll watch your career with great interest. And there it was the whole time. You know, for people who didn't already know that he was going to become the Emperor, it's there in the background as
What a
he's grinning
sneaky little
away.
Easter egg. That's so cool.
Amazing Easter egg.
Brilliant.
And I'm so impressed that a mere 2 decades after that film came out that I finally found that out. So this
A
is
whole new spin on the
this is a lesson for everybody. Always just start Googling random stuff when you're drunk.
Yeah.
Always. That's how it
Always
works.
turns out well.
Always turns
Yes.
out well. Right.
Yeah. We're closing things out with a little bit of Games Workshop news. There's a
Mm.
couple of different ones to dive into. All of it about returning stuff, effectively. We start off with some news for people diving into Warhammer Underworlds, which is the Skirmish game, which is kind of half board game, half card game from the folks at Games Workshop. Obviously, with a lot of the games that Games Workshop does at the moment, they go through seasons or they go through expansions and all sorts of new core sets and things like that. Warhammer Underworld started off with Shadespire and Night Vault originally. Well, a lot of those warbands have then been converted into simply just miniature sets that don't have any cards with them, and you have to kind of plumb the depths of your card collection in order to use them in the new Rivals format and stuff like that. Well, Games Workshop have decided to come back and revisit these old warbands and make them fit into the Rivals format. So that's the format where you basically just come along with a pre-constructed deck and you just play the game and you don't have to do any deck building, which is fantastic and very good and inviting for new players. There are going to be 4 warbands returning. So the Thorns of the Briar Queen from Night Vault, alongside Molog's Mob, Zarbag's Gits, and the Spike Claw Swarm. So you've got your Night Haunt there floating in underneath Lady Oleander and stuff. Alongside Molog's Mob, which is the wonderful trolls, Zarbag's Gits, which is your Night Goblin-esque stuff, and then Spike Claw's Swarm, which was the first of the Skaven warbands for the game, which I know a lot of people used to make Mordheim models, and rightly so.
Makes sense.
Use those alongside those new Witch Hunters, and you'd have 2 perfect warbands. Fantastic stuff. But yeah, so these are going to be included, unfortunately, as part of one big box. So you get all 4 warbands in the set alongside all of their decks. I kind of was hoping that they were going to do these as kind of separate sets where you just get them and you get the Rivals deck alongside it, which would have been quite nice.
Get the one that you want.
Yeah.
Rather than being forced to pick up.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it's one of these things where maybe you dive in alongside a couple of friends and split this box, especially if you're Warhammer Underworlds fans. Get the warband that you want from this sets that maybe you missed in the past, and then get your hands on the thing. As I say, it's a great idea. It's just maybe a little bit of a shame in the way that they're going to package it up, which is unfortunate. But
it's an evil rope.
Yes,
because it's still taunt on his neck, and there's no reason for it to be taunt. So that is the evil rope. That's not the model that you're fighting with. I
like to think that Nagash somewhere is like twitching his little finger, and that just keeps pissing off that ghost constantly.
I don't know. No, hang on. Maybe the ghost itself is just really conceited. So whenever they put the hood on and tied that up, it kept falling down. And they were like, "Screw this! I'm just going to run some wire through that. It's going to look cooler. I'm going to look badass. Yeah, I'm styling now."
Yeah,
that's probably my favorite set.
It's really cool. It's really nice, unique, very different from other stuff that exists out there.
Trimmed out troll.
I think that's probably why it's my favorite. It's because it looks like a thing apart and very different, even down to what appears to be some sort of rock mimic.
They're all types of squig, apparently.
So it's a squig rock.
It's a squig rock,
here's the thing. No, none of them are anything like that. He is just tripping balls.
That might also be the case. Yeah. I think it's one of the things that's really nice about Warhammer Underworlds as a whole is that it's always been a really nice way for you to look at particular factions or a grand alliance and be like, I've always wanted to do destruction, but I don't want to make an army. How about I just buy Zarbag's Gits or I buy Molog's Mob and just paint a handful of models. You never have to paint that many. They're always characterful and interesting. The sculptors really get to have some fun with it as well. The game also is great fun, can probably be played in about 30 minutes, which is awesome. And you can always keep revisiting it and having fun with it in terms of tactics and stuff like that. So they've made it really approachable and really good fun. As I did an article last weekend about why you shouldn't be sitting on Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Make sure to go and read that. It's not as bad as you think. So yes.
Reading.
Who read? I was elected to lead. But yes. Good stuff there from Games Workshop for Warhammer Underworlds. Just make sure you've got some friends to buy that set.
That's where I fall down.
Friends, I was elected to lead. But yes, good stuff there on that front. Moving from Warhammer Underworlds and the current state of the Mortal Realms to what it was before and the world that was and the old world itself. A whole bunch more returning miniatures are coming back for Warhammer of the Old World. Unfortunately, it's still around the Tomb Kings and the Bretonnians. If you want to
I'm glad you said
army,
it like that. Because I was thinking that.
If you're looking to collect any other faction, pray to the gods that someone has put something on eBay for you, or just get some 3D printed stuff, I guess. But if you are collecting either of these factions, they are coming back with a whole bunch of the new plastics that were previously only available as part of the box sets for the game that came out when the game released. They're now going to be available separately. So the Necrolith dragon there as well, with the Tomb King on the top, alongside all of the core plastic stuff for the forces. So, for example, with the Tomb Kings of Khemri, you're going to be able to get yourself the archers and the spearmen for your armies. You don't have to now rely on just having to buy the big box to get your hands on all of these. They're all obviously come on the larger base size, although of course you don't have to worry about that if you've already got stuff that already exists. Just put them in bigger regiment trays. Or just don't care. That's what I'm doing. And have some fun with your friends. But alongside that, a whole bunch of returning metal miniatures are also coming back. So lots of the older characters are returning from previous editions of the game.
Are they returning in metal?
They are returning in metal, yes.
Good.
They're all coming back in metal. There are some exceptions to that. A variety of the slightly more awkward kits are going to be coming back in Forge World resin, not fine cast, which is important to note. So you don't have to worry about having to deal with that. It will actually come in a good resin, which obviously is great for building, because trying to build a Screaming Skull catapult made out of metal was a task.
I'd be thinking more the Bone Giant.
And the Bone Giant, which is just top heavy.
Yes. Especially when they strapped skeletons to his head.
Yeah.
As like some sort of crown of skeletons.
But they'll be coming back in resin. I say that's a lot of the stuff for the Tomb Kings. There is a lot more on top of that. It'll all be on the Games Workshop web store this weekend. For the Bretonnians, the Knights of the Realm on foot are going to be coming out. This will be a big set of 24 models, as you can see there, that will allow you to make them as one big unit if you wanted to, one big regiment with hand weapons and shields. Or you can go with the halberds, depending on which way you wanted to go with these. Or you could split them up into two sets of 12. So you could, because there's enough components in the set to make lots of different command options for them, which is good to see. They're going to be coming as your plastic sets alongside a lot of the returning plastics as well. So the Knights of the Realm are going to be coming back. I didn't see peasants like bowmen, spearmen, etc., and men-at-arms and things yet. So maybe
we did see those in the reveals before Christmas.
Yeah, so they were available as part of the original box set. But I hadn't seen them in the previews of what was coming this weekend. So maybe they're still in the process of getting round to getting boxed up and all that kind of good stuff. But a lot of metal stuff is also coming back as well. So your classic Grail Knights and things like that are going to be rocking out once again. Just be aware that if the initial set of metal releases was anything to go by, these are not going to be cheap. I'm talking about Games Workshop. Who would have thought it would be? But yes, these are probably going to be fairly expensive. Definitely more of a collector's game than a sort of broad appeal game, definitely. But they're going to be coming back. So if you're someone who missed out on these older models, they're going to be landing back on the tabletop once again. I know a lot of people are using this as an opportunity to maybe get the models that they didn't get when they were younger. So, for example, the Green Knight is also going to be returning. Still a gorgeous model, even to this
Perry
day.
sculpts always stand up. Doesn't matter what decade they're from, they will always stand up.
Yeah. So if you're looking to see these returning, they are going to be landing once again on the web store for you to pick up and use to expand your armies. In terms of the Forge World Resin stuff for Bretonians, things like the Trebuchet are going to be coming back in Forge World Resin, so that's going to be one of the kits for that, alongside some of the other slightly more complicated stuff. And some characters and things like that. But yeah, a good mix of metal, plastic, and resin arriving this weekend for the Old World to finally allow people to expand their Bretonian armies beyond that kind of 1,200 point limit that potentially a lot of people found themselves finding themselves at as part of the release for the Old World. But yeah, good stuff.
I do think I was never planning on getting any of it anyway, but I'm fatigued with Bretonian and Tomb Kings,
yes,
because we've been hearing about them since October, November,
pretty much, yeah.
And they're still releasing them now, and we've not heard hide nor hair of any other army.
Well, we got previews for Orcs and Goblins a month ago now, but still nothing on them. Yeah, I think you were perhaps on holiday, Joe.
Well done, me.
The audacity.
Yeah. Well done, me.
And the thinking is that they're going to be landing alongside dwarves, which would be obviously a natural partnership. But again, if it's going to be one of those things, we're going to have to wait quite a while.
Well, this is it.
Get your hands on this stuff.
For people after specific armies, it's the drip feed. And one of the big complaints I often hear from people about mass battle games is it takes so long to put an army together and paint it. And I understand that some people want to have their army immediately, but would it not have made more sense to go, this month we're going to release 2 core boxes for 4 factions. Next month we're going to release 2 core boxes for 4 more factions, and then cycle back, and people could have all collected at the same point. Because if you're part of a group,
specialist stuff in later,
because if you're part of a group and one person wants to play Tomb Kings, one person wants to play Undead, great. One person wants to play Elves, unlucky, and one person wants to play Orcs. You could be there soon. It could be years before they actually have enough stuff to play together. And I know,
because your actual player base that you're building for the game is going so slowly because of the faction layout that they've done.
And it's always, when it's a new game coming out, people always say, "Oh, they need to get so many factions out." So that people can play, and there's always the complaints that it's slow going. However, in this one instance, it doesn't have to be, because there is 30-ish years worth of releases for all those armies. All the molds are sitting there stockpiled somewhere. They just needed to go, we'll not do it in our standard army release way. We'll break it up.
Yeah,
we'll treat it like it's an entirely new game, and we just divvy stuff up. And yes, it means you might not get all the toys for your army for a few months, but it means at least you're at the same level for all the players in the group.
Yeah, it's been something of a double-edged sword in terms of content, like we're talking about, people creating stuff for the game out there. Like, I know a lot of channels that are really excited to play the Old World, and I've watched a bunch of their battle reports, and they're fantastic, and it's been really good to see the game played, and I love the mechanics that they've gone with and what they've done with the rules and stuff. But it's that situation of, I've just watched a game between Beastmen and High Elves. I can't buy those armies. And you're like, well, yeah. So, it's a bit...
I'm about to go off the boil and go play something else.
Exactly. Yeah. And you wonder why a lot of channels going back to 40k and Age of Sigmar and stuff. But there we go.
On the plus side, that Tomb King, his Necrolith does come with a Thagomizer on the back. So that's great.
Google's...
And if people are not aware of Thagomizer, go and look that one up, because you'll enjoy that one.
Horrifying wonderment.
It's just marvelous, and I love everything about it. Right, that's enough news for us for this week. I think we'll have a little swish, and when we come back, we'll round out the show. Okay, we are back and ready for some 3D printing.
Yeah.
And we are having a look at Novac Dawn.
Yeah, so over the last little while, we've been looking at some interesting bits and pieces, creating all sorts of different stuff for
Your kind of classic tabletop games, your grimdark sci-fi and everything else in between. Novac Dawn, quite grimdark, but in a slightly like, here's a fun freaking monster mode. So yes, if you're someone who's been looking at the weird and the wonderful and wanted something equally weird and wonderful to throw into your games, I would recommend coming and checking out the Novac Dawn stuff, because it is, quite frankly,
Morag from Take the High Road. Another one for the kids there, isn't it? Huh?
It is awesome, over the top, very arty, definitely grimdark. Painters models effectively, but obviously there's no reason why you couldn't use these on the tabletop. 32mm, so it's just a fantastic model to throw into your games and have some fun with these. A definite slant towards the chaotic and the evil and the twisted, which is always nice to see. But maybe they're just misunderstood bad guys.
Maybe the skulls are the skulls of her ancestors.
Could be.
And she has to go on a killing spree to avenge their deaths.
Yes.
Which was caused by some holy paladin coming in one day when they were sacrificing a village and killing them all. It's terrible. It's it's real.
It didn't even say hello, just started murder.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I've had to rethink my entire life. But yeah, some really awesome models in this one. I really like Gorbog, the massive like troll crusher. I think is a phenomenal model. It's the reason that I kind of picked this one this week. I have like a fascination with trolls and giants alongside all sorts of different things. Maybe because they're the main foe of dwarves, perhaps.
That would make sense.
Know thy enemy.
Yeah. And I just thought this one was absolutely fantastic. Really nice quality to it. I loved the kind of boils and everything building up over the back. Had a very reminiscent feel of stuff from like Blood Rage and kind of Adrian Smith style artwork, which I thought was quite nice about this one. Good use of things like the skulls and the bones there to give you a sense of scale as well, which is always important with these kind of models. Stomping forward, very nice model for you to drop into your games as kind of like a boss creature or something. Obviously, there's a lot of skirmish games out there at the moment where you will potentially need big models to like represent fiendish things for you to fight with your warbands and the like. These very much allow you to kind of zone in on that and do something very similar. Also, a very good mixture of stuff here that would be a good fit alongside the stuff from like Bestiara miniatures that we looked at previously in the past. A very similar aesthetic and feel to the models that could be sort of blended together with that range as well, which I think is quite nice.
Just curious
if gorgeous stuff.
If it loses anything in the drop from 75 to 32, but it doesn't appear to.
So. No,
it looks good.
Nice, yeah.
No, it looks good.
Yeah.
Although, what's the Winter Wonder Horrorland stuff that I'm seeing just poking out the bottom of the page?
Yeah, so there are some kind of like wintry, Christmassy, twisted goodness as well for you to dive into and have some fun with, which we will see. You are fascinated by this model as well, aren't you, Gerry? Yeah. Which is good.
All the limbs, gives the best hugs.
Yeah.
What can I say? I'm a fan of mythos and body horror. They're great.
More the arms to hug you with.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's Mr. Tickle from the Mr. Ben. It's his great grandma.
Well, they did that.
He cracked cocaine not one time.
Yeah, they did the Winnie the Pooh horror movie, so why not the Mr. Men horror movie? So yeah.
Oh, don't worry, it's coming. Steamboat Willie and Tigger are also coming as because they're both public domain now as well.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Oh right.
God, that one's lovely. I really like that one. Yeah.
Just imagine them doing a horror show of Mr. Ben.
It's very Guillermo del Toro.
It is
kind of
ice in the hands kind of feel.
Extruded limbs and creepy.
One of my favorites is the Drathomir. If you go down to the Skeleton Champion before we go into the winter stuff, yeah, that chap, I think he's fantastic. I've always got like a soft spot for Skeleton Champions and stuff, and this guy just rules. Could see him at the head of an undead legion as a white or something, which I think is quite nice. Lots of different options, which is always good.
Choice of heats.
Yeah.
See, I'd love to see someone do a skeleton champion, but his armor is just all random bits that he's picked up and scavenged off people. So a complete mishmash of armor on him.
Yeah, in different colors and all sorts of different things, different styles. That'd be quite nice.
That I think could look very cool if someone would sculpt it up, please, for Christmas.
Probably out there somewhere in the wide world of 3D printing. But
Yeah. Probably pay somebody to do it for you.
Yeah,
What's
could
that, what's
do.
that thing that all the kids go to? Fiverr?
Yeah.
God, don't go to Fiverr.
I've never been near it, but I
Kay's
hear it's
review,
for the
God,
kids.
don't go here. Yeah.
Don't go to Fiverr.
But yeah, some
Mitzi
quirky snowmen.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not full of body parts.
I mean, definitely they've got some red on them when you paint these up.
Good for all your Christmassy themed adventures on the tabletop. Still many months out, but be prepared, obviously.
Yeah.
Sure. The way marketing goes these days, the Christmas stuff will be out next month.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, hell, we weren't even properly into the new year before the Easter stuff was on the shelves.
Exactly. Yeah. Although my girlfriend is quite happy that there's plenty of cream eggs everywhere. So.
Oh no! Have you not seen Domino's new one? They're doing like deep fried cream eggs.
I have had one. I have had one, and it made me feel sick. So
good.
Yeah.
It should.
I ate it, and at the end, I went, I can't eat it anymore, which is a new thing for me. So, but yeah,
put the magic hat on Frosty. Huh?
Yeah. And I like to think that maybe the creature is inside the hat.
Yes.
And it's all just animating everything else.
That
like
would make a lot of sense.
Nah, they put the hat on and all you heard was Gryffindor.
Yeah.
And then he did crack.
Yeah. Very cool stuff indeed. I like all the skulls embedded in the butt and stuff. Very nice. Skull butt.
Butt skulls.
There's stuff that's kind of Halloween themed as well. So there's lots of pumpkin based stuff as well, which I think is quite nice. Obviously, with these kind of campaigns and tribes and everything, tend to get themed stuff every month. And so you get a lot of that stuff flowing through as well.
I'm getting Nightmare Before Christmas vibes. This is
yes.
Halloween. This is
even
Halloween.
more nightmarish. Yeah. Some very cool horror style stuff in here. As I say, definitely the stuff that's intended for kind of grim, darky style universes and people building armies that fit into that kind of mold that we've seen developing over the last couple of years, where people like to dive in and build up armies of the undead for all their indie games and things like that. These are very much befitting.
No Batwings.
No Batwings. So maybe a Lloyd might want to come and check this one out. Yeah, very true.
If it wasn't the extraneous scullage.
Yeah.
They don't need bat wings when they've got all those skulls.
Yeah, this is fair. I wonder if there's a balance, how many skulls you can put on to how many bat wings.
The skull to batwing index. Yes,
yeah.
Very true. But really nice undead models. Really cool soldiers. Very good stuff there on that front.
Just put them on some square bases, rank them up, and off you go.
Yeah. And in good poses as well. So they're not they're not like, I mean, they're slightly shambling, but they feel slightly more martial, which I think is quite nice.
Yeah.
As if they've remembered their skills from death.
No, they were just res by a level 2 wizard.
That too. Yeah.
Stop that.
Yeah,
no.
They're very nice. I do enjoy those undead. When do we go? If I go further down, is there anything else clever? There's the first undead. Ooh, hello.
Lots more shambling skeletons to fill
Have a
in.
quick look at this one before we wander off.
I always love sculpts where it's just them clawing up out the ground.
Good base filler stuff, which is always nice as well.
Oh no, that's just my front rank.
Yeah.
First rank fight, second rank fight. Why? Because they're shorter.
Yeah. But yeah, gorgeous stuff there from Novac Dawn. Lots of stuff developed over the last little while. There's a tribe for you to dive into and have fun with. Gorbag is one of the most recent models. They also do free samples and everything else in between. You can also buy physical prints from Only Games. So if you've liked the look of this and you don't have access to a 3D printer, you can always go and head over to Only Games. And it still boggles my mind that it's called Only Games, considering the implications.
Yes. Exploration is not required.
Not that I know anything about that, of course. But yes, you'll be able to dive over and check all that stuff out, get your hands on physical miniatures as well as digital ones, and have some fun. Good stuff.
Lovely stuff from Novac.
Did you win one of our prizes? Find out on our prize claim center over at OnTableTop.com. Here we list all our previous prizes and those who have won. If you see your username, fill out the form to claim your prize. All prizes must be claimed within 30 days.
A couple of Kickstarters to finish off the show.
Yes.
And first things first. People are going plundering.
Yeah. So RKX Miniatures are back with part 2 of their Operation Plunder campaign. Previous to this, they had done a selection of Canadians and Allied forces for World War II.
There's currently a whole army of them sitting on a shelf outside the room Shay's in at the moment.
There we go, yes.
Because John went absolutely boogly for that. Now, John's
I
not
remember,
in this week.
yes. Yeah.
I hope somebody just messages this link to John, Shay. If anybody would do that, I'm sure that would be
Why
terrible.
am I not trusted with this?
I'll think about it.
I'll think about it now.
Because John might look at the one Shay sends.
Yeah, fair.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
If he stops,
Listen, mine has all the bad cookies.
Yeah. So this is an expansion to that sort of point in time in World War II. And this is effectively the other side of that conflict. So where we had the Canadians and the Allies before, this is the Axis side of things. And this is a 20 mil selection of Fallschirmjäger, based on the soldiers from 1945. No physical rewards in this campaign. It's all 3D printable stuff, as I say, in 28 mil. They have used photography and obviously evidence and stuff from the period in order to recreate the miniatures, which I think is absolutely fantastic. We obviously saw that being done earlier.
The
in
miniatures
the show.
look way less happy.
Well, yeah,
He's
wouldn't you
still
if you were-
happy.
Yeah, wouldn't you if you were marching to war? Tabletop war where you die endlessly all the time.
It
at the whims of
depends.
a
It
massive
depends
god.
if you have that yummy chocolate that the Germans had.
Well, that's true. But yeah, so you get a whole bunch of 3D printable files. You get your platoon HQ, you get your rifle squad, you get all of your special weapons. So you've got the likes of the Panzerschreck team and your marksman, your MG34, and obviously all the different bits and pieces for your marching squad as well. So if you're going to create a little bit more of a diorama, you've got those options, which I think is quite nice, alongside the Flak 30 autocannon, as you can see there at the bottom too, which I think is quite good. They've also done a selection of bases for these as well. So if you want to make them themed to that kind of urban warfare that we see from the images and stuff like that, you've got the options to get the bases for those, which I think is quite nice. One thing that they've said about the range as well is that it's been, while a lot of times you'll see campaigns like this and they'll say, oh, you can vary this between 15, 32, whatever, etc. These have been specifically designed to give that really nice 28 mil feel. So they are fit for that scale effectively, which I think is quite good. Obviously means they fit into a whole range of different games anyway. Bolt action, chain of command, whatever you want to go for really. As well as the Fallschirmjäger, you're able to go in and pick up all the stuff that, like John, had picked up, all the stuff that people like John had picked up in previous campaigns. So you've got your German stuff in terms of infantry and armor. You've got your allies in their various guises with the Commonwealth and everything else in between as well, alongside a range of different stretch goals that have been locked for this campaign, which is very well funded, as you can see. So a great selection of different options there for those people wanting to play as the Fallschirmjäger and the Axis on the tabletop. Very good stuff.
This is fancy. They've already got some of the unlocks done as well.
Yeah.
So another MG team. And
some alternative sculpts, always good to
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
what else is on the way? Assaults.
Black stuff.
Everybody's favourite.
Based on
Flag.
shares as well. So if you see this and you like the campaign, maybe you're a backer, dive in, share this on social media, and
I mean, yeah.
help
Still-
unlock them.
They're somewhere between 50 and 100 at the moment. So everybody
Yeah.
chip in. I use the hashtag. I don't know how hashtags work.
Hashtag no hashtag.
I honestly don't. I haven't a clue. Click a thing though, and that'll probably do stuff.
Yeah, or have your nan share it.
Yep. And then the actual cash money unlocks. So medic in there.
Very nice.
Mortar team.
81 mil mortar.
The multi-part kit for being a bit more nuanced
Versatile.
with your
Yeah,
builds.
yeah.
Me bear.
Snipers.
Yeah.
And then some additional add-ons, including Gibblewagon.
Kugelwagen.
Kugelwagen.
Oh, Pumas. Oh, no.
You know, likey.
Oh, Paul. Stand down, Paul. Stop panicking. Get off that ledge. Pack 40, light 40 mil. Oh, the light cannon was great. I mean, because it was just stripped down. Cause
It just looks like a toy.
Nice shoots.
bear in mind, they had to drop these things out of planes.
sense.
So they made some very stripped down versions of machine guns and artillery pieces, and even some of the weapons that you'll see the Fallschirmjäger carrying.
Is
where,
it big enough to hurt someone? Yes, good enough.
Hollowed out stocks, or stocks replaced by just, bracketing instead of full wooden, just to save on weight. They've hammered through these at rate of knots already, haven't they?
These 3D printing Kickstarters tend to burst through their goals very quickly because it's obviously just offering up digital assets, isn't it? Really, so there's nothing to worry about when it comes to physical models. So,
nice. My favorite.
Able to dive in and get a whole bunch of stuff, and if they unlock more of these, it's just fantastic. Obviously, just builds on your pledge and your add-ons and things like that. So, get these 3D printed and have some fun with it.
Yeah, only
John
stretch goals away. Yeah.
John gave his seal of approval to the last stuff, so
good. And I'm sure at some point in the not too distant they'll appear on the table as well, because I'd noticed quite a lot of carriers printed out as well.
Yes,
quite a lot of carriers. For spam carrier filth lists, I assume.
One for each squad is what he's hoping. One for each squad.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Right, 18 days left on that, and massively funded. Yes. And that is Operation Plunder. And then for the old-timer types like myself, we have a Kickstarter that contains metal things. I can buy and put on my table.
Yeah, so for those people who are diving in, who want to pick up nice, bespoke, unique miniatures in physical format, Andrew May is back from Meridian Miniatures with another selection of illustrations turned into miniatures. You'll know that Andrew May has done this stuff in the past. If you've watched any of our shows, weekends over the last year or so, he tends to find artwork out there, be that illuminations from religious texts, or just artists that he enjoys working with, and taking their drawings, their illustrations, and turning them into miniatures. This time around, it is the turn of Sin Eater, who does amazing illustrations based on British folklore, European folklore at large as well, and has taken those art pieces, and then turned those into miniature form, as you can see here in 28mm. You mentioned materials there, Gerry. These are actually in high quality resin rather than metal, but the set is currently at 6 miniatures. There won't be any more, there won't be any less. This is just the set that Andrew's working on. There's the Green Man, the Apple Tree Man, the Moon Villager, Aquarius, the Gnome, and then my favorite, beating out the Apple Tree Man, the Soil Wizard, which is just phenomenal.
Absolutely. See, this is what started the fight. He was digging beneath the tree.
Exactly, yeah.
And someone said, no.
Yeah, like the dwarves. As you can see, based on the artwork there from Sin Eater, a lot of the qualities of the illustrations carried through really nicely into the final miniatures. Apparently, it was quite a task looking through what Sin Eater had done and picking
and narrowing it down.
Would narrow down and then translate over nicely into miniature form. I think that Andrew's done a sterling job with this stuff. And there are a lot of games out there in the indie sphere that use miniatures akin to this or exactly like this. So if you're looking to dive into any of those games, maybe a little bit of Forbidden Psalms or trying out Veritwood or any of the games of that ilk from the 28 mag range and things like that, these would be a really nice option for you to throw in there to kind of build on that folklore fantasy aesthetic. Either go with slightly more bright and poppy color schemes, as you can see here, or dull them down and make them slightly more grim and twisted, throw a bit of blood in there, whichever way you want to go. I think there's something to be said about the very bright and happy nature to these as they rip your face off. The kind of clown thing, maybe. I think that's quite cool because it's like, yes, merry doll dingle day. I am the god of spring, and spring means rebirth, and that means we need you to die so you can water the ground with your blood.
No,
British folklore. It's so safe.
Drop them into 7TV.
Oh yeah,
with haven't they done a really nice set of Robin Hood?
They have
figures for 7TV.
Yeah.
And he was always messing around with Hearn anyway.
Yeah.
And eventually you're bound to either wake one of these up or piss one of these off.
So what, they're tired of him robbing in their hood?
Sure thing.
I know that was awful. I'm sorry.
That is just the worst.
Robin with a
But even that, the Aquarius model as well.
It's lovely.
It's really
Yeah.
nice.
They
Just
have
like
their-
nice alongside the stuff Anna did.
Oh yeah,
Which
definitely. Yeah.
was also a campaign that Andrew ran, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Meridian Miniatures working with lots of different illustrators and things like that to create really interesting and diverse campaigns. I like them that they're always self-contained. There's no stretch goals and add-ons for you to worry about. You literally just get the models. They're right at your door. He says it takes as long as it takes. So if it takes a little bit longer than he thought in terms of delivery, that's because he wants to make sure that every single miniature that you get is as perfect as he can possibly make it. So it will arrive in that lovely crisp resin for you to start painting and having fun with.
I know there are no add-ons, but a little set of postcard versions of the prints would be lovely. I wonder if Senator sells them himself, and that's
they do have their own store where they sell their prints and things. So if you're looking to check out that artwork, you can get it. It's very nice.
And Gerry goes to basket, hits buy.
I don't know where you get this idea from.
How dare you? He's already bought it.
Shut up.
Yeah, fair.
Shut up.
It's probably already in the post. Airmail.
Right. There are only 2 days left.
Yeah.
So
Get in or miss out.
yeah. Fill your boots with your Senator miniatures and go whack full all the door through the forest. It'll be fine. It'll be a rumble time for everyone. I think that wraps us up for this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. We're going to be back on Sunday morning over on tabletop.com for our XLBS, where you can join us, where we'll have possibly both brothers Johnson. Who knows?
Ooh, risky.
Time will tell. We'll have a bit of a witter about our hobby and yours over there. It's much more relaxed, laid back. There's not as much thinking goes into it. It's very, very easy.
If you saw last week, Lloyd shares the most inappropriate things. So
His search of gloves will stay with us all forever. If you don't know what we're talking about, then you should come over to On Tabletop. You can get a free 30-day trial, have a poke around and see what we get up to behind closed doors. Otherwise, we shall be back again next Friday for more of the same. Until then, have a great week of gaming. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.